The NFL Gambling Podcast Trade Deadline Recap and Futures Market Update edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/SGPN and use code SGPN for a first deposit match up to $100. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting research platform for parlays, props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit at hofbets.com. Code SGPN to get 50% off your first month to start making smarter bets today. Plus, we're brought to you by the MMA Gambling Podcast. Just launched their YouTube channel to celebrate. They're giving away MMA Gambling Podcast hoodie. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/MMA hoodie for all details today.
I'm just about that action, boss.
Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Trade deadline recap and futures market update. Yes, it is Moneyline Mac and JMark football back. We are back for a doubleheader. Go check out our Week 9 preview and pick show. I forgot what week we're in. You know, all these weeks are blending together. It was an ugly slate, but we dove into it. Go check out our Lock Dog, Tease, and Moneyline Round Robin that will hit very nicely on Sunday. But we're going to talk about why some of the lines moved and the market moved over the last couple of days. And that's the trade deadline, which has kind of taken on the little bit of its own life over the last couple of years, kind of a little bit of NBA feel. We did this last year. We gave out a couple futures winners at the trade deadline. I remember we gave out Jaguars to make the playoffs or to win the AFC South. They were 2-6 at the time. They went on a run. I think it was 9-1, so got value there. We almost nailed the Panthers. We thought the Buccaneers were suspect with Tom Brady. But, hey, we're here once again to give out some long shots. These teams are not dead yet. So, but, yeah, let's bring in the other host like I talked about, Mr. Old-Fashioned Football, a.k.a. JMark Football. You ready to talk some futures, man? I love this episode last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Running two-a-days. You know, it's important NFL news week when we're running a two-a-day.
Yes, indeed. Indeed it is. And National Football League never stops. I mean, let's get right into it, and I'll ask you, what was the biggest impact trade from a contender standpoint, in your opinion?
There was two of them that I really liked. The first one being the Jaguars bringing in Ezra Cleveland. Their offensive line, the interior of it has been kind of the biggest question mark there. And the way Trevor Lawrence is playing, the way Travis Etienne is playing, bolstering that offensive line is huge for them for the long run. You know, this is a team that they're going to make the playoffs unless all hell breaks loose. And they got a shot to upset some of these top teams like the Bills, the Chiefs. And then the other one I really liked was the Seahawks bringing in Leonard Williams, bolstering that defensive line. So anytime you can, focus on stopping the run when you're in a division with Christian McCaffrey or pressuring the quarterbacks. It's a big deal for them. It's going to really help elevate that defense. And that again, that's a team that they're looking to make a late season push. They're leading the division right now. And this only helps their chances.
Completely. I mean, I loved the Leonard Williams move for the Seahawks, get another pass rusher to kind of counter what San Francisco did, which we'll talk about here in a minute. On the other side, the Jaguars, you mentioned it, Cleveland coming over from the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm sure the average listener is not the biggest offensive line fan, or they're watching the offensive line. Cleveland, I mean, currently ranks 8th among all guards at the PFF positions in their breakdown. So he's been consistently around that 15 to 20 range. Leonard Williams, obviously a big time vet. I mean, he's always in the top 20, 25 defensive lineman, defensive tackle. So like you said, another weapon. Let's talk about your Bears, man. Bringing over Montez Sweat. You could dip it in. And, first off, I'm ecstatic that they shipped Sweat and Chase Young and were able to get a second and third round pick. Ron needed to bring in a little bit of help on the outside looking in. See, his quote today was, I needed to know the value. He needed the value of what a draft pick is worth for a player. So shout out to Ron. This is his 4th year as a GM, and he's figuring out the value of the draft picks now while he's the front runner to be fired. So, but JMark, from a Bears standpoint, we'll dive into the futures. The Bears are not punting on this season. That's what this move tells me. Now we'll talk about if they gave him too much, but what's your take on this trade to get Montez Sweat?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I don't love giving up the second rounder, but I saw a bunch of rumors. Never know whether these are true or not. Last year, it turned out that they were true with the Packers trying to get Chase Claypool, which we would have let them have that one. But a lot of rumors that other teams were willing to give up the second for Sweat. So Poles decided he had to make his move. It's big for a team that is obviously struggling to get to the quarterback. I mean, the Bears have 10 sacks on quarterbacks so far this year. Montez Sweat has 6.5 himself. So you would hope that would immediately elevate that. They're also the last in quarterback pressures. Think that he's a guy that they can get in and kind of elevate that whole defensive line. The cornerbacks have not been – they've been all right, but not great. A good defense line is going to help your cornerbacks be better. They're going to be able to cover better because the quarterback has to throw it quicker. It was interesting, though, giving up that second, especially with a team that's kind of on the outside looking in. I mean, it's still anybody's race, I guess, in the playoffs here, but Fields is still hurt. You're losing games that you shouldn't lose. So I don't know. This is going to be interesting to see how it plays out the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, Sweat and Young had been good, but I don't know. Sometimes sacks can be a little misleading because you can have 1 sack a game, but you could also get dominated the rest of the game. And
yeah,
we'll talk about the next guy here in a minute. I thought Sweat's best year was last year when Young was hurt. I thought he really showcased, and I actually thought they were going to keep. So I wanted to keep Sweat if I had to choose between the two of them. I think he's the better of the two. He's better against the run. He's longer. He's a big dude, man. And I think you're getting a good one. Hopefully you guys can re-sign him, because if you give up a second, you got to re-sign him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's another. The rumors are flying that Poles already had talked with him a little bit previously. Had been given permission to talk with him to kind of see where they were at money wise, and it sounds like, with all that cap space we have, that we are going to re-sign him. So long-term deal coming in for him, I would assume.
Yeah, or otherwise that's an awful deal for the Bears. But
yeah.
We'll talk about your futures. I kind of think you guys are going to make a little bit of a run here in the second half. But let's transition over to the other defensive end. Chase Young going over to the San Francisco 49ers. And I think a lot of people think the Niners ripped off the Skins. I completely disagree. Chase Young he's played like 9, 10 games in the last 2.5 plus years. I mean, he flashed, but I mean, if you watch him on Sunday, he had already mentally checked out. It was time to move on from him. he was the fourth best defensive lineman on that unit. Sweat's better, Allen's better, Payne's better, and there's a reason that the Bears gave up a second for Sweat and not Young. That the market told you which one was better, and I mean the advanced analytics have told the story too. I mean Sweat's been playing at a high level for a year plus. Chase Young kind of getting his feet back, showing flashes. What do you think of Chase Young going over to San Francisco? I could see him fitting in well there, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, we said it on the earlier show. It's interesting, an injury-prone player going to the most injury-prone team, but
Yeah.
maybe you're right. I mean, Chase Young, when healthy, is a good player. And so maybe if for San Francisco, he doesn't have to be the guy, right? He just has to be a situational pass rusher that can rotate in. And maybe that's going to benefit him and elevate his game too, because he doesn't have to be on the field as much. We're talking about a guy that 2020 was the last time he played double-digit games. And so that injury history is bad. Even giving up a third round for a guy that has the talent that he has, that seems crazy with his injury history. But he is a guy that, if he doesn't have to play every down and he can be rotated into a already good 49ers defense, maybe it's a great move for the 49ers.
I think you make a great point that he's going to be a situational pass rusher there and fill a void because Bosa is still the horse. And that's where I think the biggest misconception is with the national narrative that they got ripped off. Like Chase Young is not Myles Garrett. He's not TJ Watt. He's not Nick Bosa. He's not Max Crosby. These guys don't take plays off. I've watched Chase Young I watched him take the whole Eagles game off. I mean, he was god awful on Sunday. And there's a reason why under Del Rio and Rivera, they played their best defensive brand of football, was because he kind of just does his own thing. Yeah, he'll make the flashy play, the flashy sack, but he takes too many plays off like you're talking about. Now, I do agree with you, though. He gets over to San Francisco. He can fit that role. And, I mean, for him, man, it's kind of put up or shut up time. He's a little bit entitled, thinking he should get the big deal based off of his name. He thinks he's Micah Parsons, which is comical. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. He's also got to stay healthy. That's another thing. So that's enough Chase Young. Good luck to him, but not really.
One other thing on him, I don't know if the 49ers have the cap space to re-sign him. They're going to have to get creative.
He's a rental. Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to have to get creative if they want to re-sign him. So giving up a third is – they're obviously in win right now mode with that. They think he can bring enough just this year to give up a third. So that's interesting.
Did the analytics say that for Ron?
As we said earlier, when you said he asked Siri, hey, what can I get for Chase Young?
Hey, Siri, what's the value for Chase Young and Montez Sweat? Is that worth a second or third round? Can I get a first round? No, Ron, you can't. All right, I'll give up a fourth round. I'm surprised they didn't give up like a fourth or fifth round. You know what we should have done? We should have tried to trade Ron and said, you know what, we'll give you our seventh round draft pick with
there you
Ron.
go.
But anyway, I digress. We'll talk about what the Packers and Bills did on the other side, but first we got to talk about Prize Picks. Because Prize Picks is offering a reboot policy for all you guys out there that had Bijan Robinson with the migraines. No, he can't take a Tylenol or an Advil, but he got a migraine and boom, you lost your fantasy. You lost all your SGPs. You're out of money. You're out of luck. You're broke. You got to sell the house and your family hates you. But don't worry, Prize Picks, use that because it's Reboot City. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an insurance policy where if a player leaves in the first half and doesn't return in the second half, you can get the reboot policy. And I know a lot of you need that. So get over there to Prize Picks. Simple way to play. You can make picks, submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay with Prize Picks' #1 daily fantasy app. Prize Picks offers weekly promotions with payouts on Taco Tuesday. I love me some Taco Tuesdays. Get a little margarita, get a little buzz, and make some picks on Prize Picks. Hey, get some winners with some chips and salsa. Players and stats, types you're selecting, highlight your winnings from Prize Picks. A simple, fun, and easy way to experience playing the game the right way over at Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/ SGPN and use code SGPN for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com, code SGPN. Prize Picks, daily fantasy made easy. Okay, so we're also brought to you by the MMA Gambling Podcast, which just launched their own YouTube channel. In honor, we're giving away a MMA Gambling Podcast hoodie to one lucky winner. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/MMA hoodie to submit your entry today, and make sure you subscribe to the MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube so you're eligible. All right, JMark, I know you were happy with this trade because out goes Rasul Douglas from Go Pack Go to the Buffalo Bills. And I thought this was essential for these Bills. I actually love this move for the Bills, and it gives me hope that my ticket on them to win the Super Bowl still is alive and well now that they get a veteran DB back in the secondary. I know Adam Pelletier's got to be happy about this one, man. I mean, you're excited because Rasul Douglas is on his way out of the NFC North.
Yeah, absolutely. The more defensive playmakers they can get out of there, the better for the Bears. Definitely a good move for the Bills. I mean, he fits that zone scheme that they tend to run on their defense. They've had some injury issues with Tre'Davious White and their rookie, or I guess former rookie, Kyer Elam. He hasn't been that great. So bringing in somebody that's going to fit into that scheme and can be a big time playmaker for him, especially when you think about the quarterbacks that are in the AFC. We've talked about it all year long, how this AFC is it's a different level than the NFC when it comes to the quarterbacks. When you got to go against the Mahomes, the Justin Herberts, like Josh Allen, but obviously he's on the same team, but Lamar Jackson. I mean, all these guys, Trevor Lawrence. These guys are good players, so bolstering your defensive backfield is crucial in my opinion, and that's exactly what the Bills did here.
And Rasul Douglas is a Mountaineer, so he's automatically a badass. So yeah, he was great. We actually graduated the same year, so Rasul always liked him, and he was great. He was a good role guy in the Eagles his rookie year when they won the Super Bowl. And then has been a shutdown guy over there with Green Bay the last couple of years. And I think that's a great addition for these Buffalo Bills. Another team under the radar at the deadline. What'd you think of the Detroit Lions in your division going out and getting Donovan Peoples-Jones from the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, I thought that was a really good under the radar move. I mean, aside from Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, the Lions have really struggled as far as pass catchers goes. And so bringing in somebody like DPJ, who he's had really good games, he just kind of gets buried on that depth chart. I mean, they love Amari Cooper. They don't have the best quarterback production anyways right now. So I feel like that's a really good move for the Lions. They got him at a cheap value. So to me, it's a thing that if it doesn't really work out, it's not a huge deal. But he is going to be a guy that comes in and probably can, in a week or two, once he learns the playbook, he's going to be that wide receiver 2 next to Amon-Ra St. Brown, in my opinion, because they haven't gotten what they wanted out of Jameson Williams. They're dealing with a bunch of other guys like Khalif Raymond. I mean, not guys that are barn burners by any means. So I think it's a really good move for the Lions, who they have a grasp on this NFC North, unfortunately.
Yeah, I like it. I like this move as well for the Lions, who are going all in, man. I mean, this team's damn good, JMark. I know we don't really like the Lions. I mean, you don't like the Lions, but they're pretty damn good.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I hate to admit it. I didn't think I could believe in the Lions. I thought that, they just had so much of a culture issue, and
losers.
Yeah, they've just been losers for so long. But I mean, credit to Dan Campbell. He's really turned it around, and he's got that team believing.
Indeed. I'll tell you another team that was believing until their starting quarterback went down. That was the Minnesota Vikings. And they went and got Dobbs out of nowhere. I mean, kind of did not see this one coming. I didn't see Arizona dealing Dobbs. I kind of felt like it might be Jacoby Brissett or Jameis Winston, but it's going to be Dobbs instead. So what do you think here? Dobbs will not start this week. It'll be Jalen Hall from BYU. Do you think Dobbs eventually takes over, though?
I mean, I think he could. This was a guy that earlier in the year, especially, we were saying the Cardinals are tanking, but nobody told Dobbs because he was playing his ass off.
Playing his ass off.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. And so as for the Vikings, it's a good move for them. Even if he's going to end up being a backup, they don't have a lot of depth behind Hall. They do have Sean Mannion, who nobody's believing in him. So it's a good depth move either way. A little surprising from the Cardinals. A guy plays his ass off for you. Maybe he did too well, and they want to tank. And they're like, "What? You weren't supposed to come in and beat the Cowboys. What are you doing?" And so they shipped him out because of that. I don't know. It was interesting based on the Cardinals because they seem like an organization that's out on Kyler Murray. Clayton Tune really hasn't shown anything that he can be the guy. I guess he might get a shot now, but I think this is more of just showing that the Cardinals are definitely on their way out to tank for Caleb Williams or whoever, Drake May, whoever they want to draft. And it's a good move by the Vikings, who again, the NFC North, it's kind of wide open as far as those wild cards, that wild card spot. So this is a move that could potentially really help them out. Now, I did see something on the gram. I can't remember who posted it, but it said Josh Dobbs makes them Super Bowl contenders. I think that's a little cuckoo, but believe what you want to believe, I guess.
Right. Yeah, that's not right. So, yeah, and then the final one, Kevin Bayard, however you pronounce it, coming over from the Titans, going over to this filthy Philadelphia Eagles. He played on Sunday actually against the Skins. He had 7 tackles in total. He was out there. I saw him. Good piece. I think it was a much needed piece too with their secondary. Their secondary's got some holes, in my opinion. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. And the injuries to the secondary have been terrible. I think they've lost 3 guys now to the injured reserve. At least 2 of them won't be coming back this year. So it was definitely something they needed to kind of bolster that secondary, especially, you're going against Dallas. They're obviously trying to keep them off base and to keep them in the division. The Eagles want to keep their lead, and they need a better secondary to do that.
Well, especially because I know everybody loves Slay and Bradbury, but I think they're more big names at this point. They're not playing at an elite level. So I do agree with you there. So interested to see what happens with Bayard. Big one for these Eagles on Sunday. And we'll talk about the futures market on the other side because we're talking about Hall of Fame bets because you can win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting analytics platform for parlays, props, and game lines. Research NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer with historical data. Enter any parlay into the Hall of Fame's revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get down every leg broken down so you know which ones have the best value. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching Hall of Fame Bets to craft a more intelligent, data-driven parlay. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com, code SGPN, to get a 50% off your first month. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All righty, we're back, and you're probably wondering, all right, you guys have talked about enough trade deadline. I agree. Let's get into the updated market, and we'll go division by division, then we'll go conference, and kind of we'll keep it somewhat brief just because you kind of know what these teams are at this point. Let's go in the NFC East. That's where we always start. I'm biased. All right, updated odds. I'm seeing Philadelphia at -200, Dallas at +200, Washington. Don't tell Ron he's plus 30,000. As they say in Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance. And then the Giants are even worse, 40,000, whatever. Clearly down to a 2-team race, shocker between these two. I actually think the value's on Dallas here with the Phillies schedule coming up. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't necessarily believe they can overtake Philly, but if you're going to take somebody, that's the team to take. I wouldn't pay the juice to bet Philly.
Yeah, and just if people are wondering what schedule I'm talking about, these two teams play over the next 5 weeks, but Philly over the next 5 weeks, they're not playing Ron Rivera anymore. They got Dallas at Kansas City, Arrowhead on Monday night, Buffalo, San Francisco, at Dallas again, and then Seattle. So next 6 games against teams that are
That's
playoff
brutal.
teams, easily
Yeah.
playoff teams. So, like I said, the value would be on Dallas if you're going to take it. JMark and I agree there. Let's go over next to the NFC West, where I'll tell you what, we said sprinkle a little bit on that Seahawks in the preseason. They have a 1-game lead. By the way, the Eagles have a 1-game lead on Dallas, so that's why they are minus 200. San Fran's still minus 250. Seattle plus 250. Rams 35-1. Long shot. Cardinals not even in the picture. I mean, man, they're not believing in our Seahawks, man. They're still riding that Niners juice. What you still sticking with the Seahawks as the best value here, sitting at plus 250 when they have the actual lead in the division?
Absolutely. They have the lead. They're the healthier team right now. And Brock, I know that the offensive line has had injuries for the 49ers, but Brock Purdy has not looked like the wonder boy that he was late last season and early this season. There's something definitely there that he's starting to regress a little bit. It's like that luck and magic is running out. So, yeah, I absolutely will. I mean, the 49ers still a great team. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be a tight race, but I'm laying the money on the Seahawks here.
Same. And, man, I can't wait for this game. Week 12, Thanksgiving. Shit, that's in 3 weeks. You got San Francisco going to Seattle. Then they play 2 weeks later back in the Great Northwest. Tell you what, man, I like it. And the Niners got an Eagles game sandwich in between that, between the 2 Seahawks games, and they got the Jaguars still to play, and the Ravens. I'm taking the Seahawks plus 250. I know we talked about it as a long shot, but it's not a long shot anymore. 1-game lead plus 250. We're giving out Seahawks plus 250 here. All right, let's go over to the NFC South where it's getting filthy. This is great. All right, so these 2 teams are pretty much even based off of whatever book you want to go. Kind of seeing New Orleans around a plus 135, 125, 130. Atlanta plus 140. They're tied in the standings 4-4. Tampa Bay, I think, is 1 game back at plus 550. Carolina just got their first win. They're not going to go on a run. I'm all over the Atlanta Falcons because of the quarterback change, man. In comes Heineke, and here we go. The magic is back. I know we gave out Saints preseason, but we kind of had an asterisk. We're like, if Heineke plays, we kind of like the Falcons. Midway point through 8 weeks, I kind of think the Falcons got some mojo going here. How about you?
I'm going to go with the Saints here. I think overall they're the better team. They have more talent, and I'm just not buying into Arthur Smith as a coach anymore. He just does not utilize his talent very well. So this is the complete fade of Arthur Smith. Love Heineke. Love that they're going with him, but I'm gonna ride with those Saints and Derek Carr, who's looking a little bit better each game by each game. It's like he's finally getting his flow down. So I think they win it, and they also have a really good defense.
And these 2 teams have not played yet. Looking ahead at the schedule. Week 12, so that Thanksgiving weekend is going to be big time for this NFL. I mean, it always is. Falcons get the home game first. They do get a bye before that, so that's big for them. And then they go to New Orleans Week 18. Do you think it comes down to the last game of the year?
I hope so, because that always makes for great football, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So JMark and I are on opposite sides. He's on the Saints plus 135 at a book I'm seeing. I got 140. Moving along in the slate. Oh, we got the NFC North, baby. Here we go. Oh, damn. This is basically done. The Lions are minus 1,200. Vikings 16-1. Packers 40. What? How are the Packers this much more of a favorite than the Bears? What are they smoking? 4,100. The Bears are 150-1. Take the Bears. Let's go. Now, do you think this division's over?
Yeah, unless Goff gets hurt or something like that. Even then, if he gets hurt, that run game with Montgomery once he comes back and Gibbs is just too good. That defense is too good, and the coaching is too good. So I think this is the Lions. I'm a Bears fan, though. I got to sprinkle just a tiny bit because if Fields comes back next week and looks like he looked the 2 games before he got injured, if that defense picks it up with the Sweat trade, maybe there's a chance. It's a small one, but maybe there's a chance.
You're saying there's a chance. And you know what, man? If Kirk was back, I'd be all over the Vikings.
Yeah.
I actually I wish I had seen what it was before that, because the Vikings play the Lions in week 16 and 18, but they're not going to catch them with Dobbs. That's not happening. So, yeah, this is Lions country. They're going to get it done. Going over to the AFC East. Patriots, unfortunately, not going to get it done. Dolphins, minus 180. Not betting that. Buffalo, plus 240. New York Jets, New York Football Jets, plus 950. Patriots 190-1. That was the game. That was the dagger in their division hopes. Oh, I'm all over the Bills. The Bills already beat the Dolphins. That's a bad matchup for the Dolphins. And the Dolphins always fade in the second half when it gets cold.
Yeah, absolutely agree on the Bills here. I can see somebody making an argument for the Jets if Rodgers is going to suit up within the next 2 or 3 weeks here. They have been winning games without him, and he's on the practice field throwing the ball. So I could see somebody making an argument, but I think they're a little far behind to catch Dolphins or Bills. They're still going to make the playoffs, I feel like. We're going to have 3 teams from this division make the playoffs. That's what I'm feeling right now. But yeah, I'm on the Bills.
And then Rodgers comes back. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, big one in Germany. I guess the Dolphins could really take a stranglehold if they get the Chiefs game. So, but yeah, I'm on the Bills plus 240. I think they'll beat Miami and Miami at the end. So,
yeah.
Moving along here in the AFC West, this division is over. Kansas City minus 650. Lock it up. We said that was amazing that they were only minus 150 at the beginning of the year.
Free
Chargers, free money. Chargers plus 7-1, not happening. Vegas 40-1, not happening. Denver 80-1. Move along. Anything you want to add to this?
Nope, not at all.
Yeah. Let's go to the North. That's the NFC North. Go to the AFC North. There we go. Come on, go where I tell you to go. Damn it. Well, first off, this thing does not want AFC South. That's where we're going now. All right, here we go. Jaguars minus 400, heavy favorite. You got Houston 8-1, Tennessee 14-1, and Indy 31-1. Jacksonville currently, by the way, the Chiefs have a 3-game lead. The Dolphins have a 1-game lead. Jaguars got a 3-game lead. Nobody's catching them, right?
No, not at all. We were all over this preseason too, that the Jags, the way they finished last season, that they were going to win this division. I'm trying to pull it up here because I know I placed a bet on them.
They were the same. You parlayed them in the Chiefs, right?
Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out what the odds were at that time. Obviously, I'm scrolling too far because I have too many open bets. They were minus 150 as well. So, I mean, you paid some juice, but it just felt like easy money.
Yeah. They're by far the best team. They took care of business. This 5-game stretch was great. It's been a continuation of what they did last year when they were in the dumpster at this point last year. We said that team is better than their record. They could go on a run, and sure they did. Doug Peterson got them going second half of the year. So, yeah, love that. All right, let's go to this one's probably going to be the most fun out of all these divisions. Let's go to the AFC North because you can make a case for every team here. The Ravens are sitting at 6-2. They're minus 120, so they are the clear favorite. But all of a sudden, Cincinnati's come on strong, plus 350. You also got Cleveland at plus 550. Pittsburgh at 9-1. It's not going to be Pittsburgh. They're by far the worst team out of all these 4, in my opinion. I know everybody loves Tomlin. We'll back him as a dog, especially at Heinz Field, but they're the worst out of these 4. They have a negative point differential, way more than the other teams. I mean, Baltimore's been dominant lately, but Baltimore's also petered out down the stretch. Are you still backing your Bengals at plus 350?
Absolutely. At the beginning of the season, I thought there were 2 teams that could win this, and that was the Bengals and the Steelers. it's not going to be the Steelers. They just have not. Their offense didn't take the step I thought it was going to. And I'm still in a fade Lamar. I know he's looked good in some of the games, but that doesn't seem to last for him, even when he does look good. And the Browns, I'm fading them. Like Watson doesn't even want to be on the field at this point, which is crazy. So yeah, I'm all over the Bengals to keep winning games and to win this division. I mean, and it starts this weekend. I think they beat the Bills. I think they win that game, and it's a statement game for them, and that they just keep winning games here and take this division. I love the price you can get right now.
It really pisses me off with because I was on the Browns in the preseason as a sleeper. For him to sit out that Ravens game in week 4, man, like that was a flip of a game where if the Browns had got that, they're 5-2, and the Ravens are 5-3, and you're in first place. Instead, you're a game and a half back, and now you got to go to Baltimore next week. It's hard to pass up Cincy at this price plus 350. I don't,
Yeah.
but I feel like that they're due not to win the division finally. I mean, I'm looking at the Browns' schedule. I just don't think the Browns can do it consistently. I'll take the Bengals with you. I'll take the Bengals with you plus 350. Best quarterback.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I have a bet that had Chiefs, Eagles, Bengals, Jags, and Bills to win the division. At that time, the Bengals were plus 130. So you're getting some extra money now, getting them at 3-1 or whatever it is now. But I still love it.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, let's go to some make the playoffs. So basically, make a wild card. Eagles are minus 8,000. They're in. San Francisco minus 1,900. They're in. Detroit minus 4,500. They're in. Kansas City minus 3,300. They're in. Miami minus 1,300. They're in. Dallas minus 1,200. They're going to be in. Jacksonville minus 950. They're in. Baltimore minus 650. They're in. Seattle minus 340. I think they're in, right?
I think so.
Buffalo minus 175. I think they're going to make it.
I do too. I like that price. It's a little juice, but when you think of the team, I'm almost positive they're going to make the playoffs. So I like that.
Yeah. So you got the Bengals at minus 150 as well, if you want to get in on that, JMark.
Parlay.
So, yeah. 6, 8, 10, 12, 4. So what if I told you right now the odds-on favorite in the NFC, you got the Saints at minus 150 and the Falcons at minus 160. So the Falcons are favored more to make the playoffs right now than the Saints, but the Saints are the division favorite.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they're saying is the division is really weak. They get to play Carolina. They get to play Tampa Bay, pulling up the playoff standings right now in the NFC. Somebody in this god-awful NFC is going to make the playoffs after, because we're going to agree. Philly and Dallas are in from the East. Detroit's in from the North. Seattle and San Francisco from the West. That gets you, 5 teams, and then you're going to have an NFC South winner. That's 6. Then you get fun. You get the Vikings. You get the loser of the NFC South. You get the Buccaneers. You get the Rams. You get the Skins. You get the Packers, Giants, Bears.
18-1 to make the playoffs. The Chicago Bears. Let's go.
I was going to say that. I think our long shot is coming from the NFC, man. I don't think Ron's going to make the playoffs. No way. 18-1. Let's go. I like it. Giants 25-1. I don't see it happening.
No.
What if I told you the Packers are only plus 450?
Which is, I don't get it. Jordan Love, what has he done to show him that he can lead that team to the playoffs?
Yeah, this is wild. I don't know. I'm just pulling up some projection stuff. Like, who do they have that they're projecting this?
And how do the Commanders have better odds to make the playoffs than the Bears? No offense, but what the fuck?
Hey, we got. I might sprinkle 10-1 because they got rid of Sweat and Young. They're going to get better. Addition by subtraction is what Ron says. I mean, the
I bet
Rams
it's
will
just,
start at 340. No way. Stafford's going to miss time. It sounds like
yeah. I think
Vikings plus 260. No way.
no. I think the Commanders are 10-1 because they know Ron will never know that he's eliminated.
Yes. I mean, the Bucks are only 2-1, I guess. So this is playoffs. So I guess they're saying that they're in the division race. I think if you're going to take two long shots, I actually don't think the Skins are the worst long shot in the world, 10-1, because Ron will pull out some bullshit games out of his ass now when he's a dog. Like they'll win some game and he won't even know he wins. So let's go 10-1 Skins, 18-1 Bears.
I like it.
One of those is going to backdoor. You have the tiebreaker, so I'm definitely betting the Bears 18-1. I'm all over this. All right, let's go to the AFC. 7 seed right now held by the Cleveland. So, all right. So I think we agree. Kansas City's in.
Yeah.
Miami and Buffalo from the East are going to get in. Jacksonville's going to win their division, and Baltimore, and probably Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Even though Cincinnati has some work, so that leaves a clump of teams. Whether you go Pittsburgh, Cleveland, the New York Football Jets, you got the Titans, you got the Chargers, Colts, Raiders, Broncos. Oh, yeah, Patriots, dead last. You got a long shot here to make the playoffs?
It's not really a long shot, but I'm all over this narrative that the Jets make the playoffs. It's plus 220, I think it's sitting at right now. I've said it since Rodgers got hurt. And he said, I'm coming back. I said he is going to come back. They didn't want to give that first rounder to Green Bay. He didn't really tear his Achilles. They've been able to win enough games to stay relevant in this playoff talk. And then he's going to come back and they're going to be better because you can't tell me a Jets team with Rodgers over Wilson is not going to be better. That defense is, if it's not the best in the league, it's top 3, right?
Yeah, I do agree.
You're getting plus money on them. I mean,
I like the Jets. I like the Jets. I like that defense. So I'll put that in there 3-1. But I got to get in on 25-1. 25-1. Yes. What if I told you the Patriots upcoming schedule? Skins win. Colts in Germany win. Giants win.
Yeah.
Chargers in New England in December. Herbert doesn't like playing in the cold. Win. Then they play the Steelers. They could win 5 in a row to get to 7-6. 25-1, Bill. And They play the Broncos, and he never loses to the Jets. There's your 9 wins. Now, they're not going to beat Kansas City. They're not going to beat Buffalo. Again, they did beat Buffalo. 25-1 Patriots. I can't quit them. I can't quit them yet, baby. Hey, trust Belichick. Do you like Tomlin plus 175 to pull a rabbit out of his ass? His team isn't good, though.
No, I was going to say, I wish I could say yes, but that offense is terrible. Until they get rid of Matt Canada, I can't back that team anymore.
Yeah. Broncos 9-1. I mean, all of a sudden playing better football quietly with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. I'll take a sprinkle on the Broncos.
And say I don't hate it. I mean, you saw what they did against the Chiefs, and that was not just that Taylor Swift wasn't at the game and that Patrick Mahomes was sick. Yeah. There was more to it than that. So, I mean, I don't hate that move.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is playing a lot better football ever since. I think everybody just remembers the debacle, giving up all those points in Miami. So, all right. So to recap, in the NFC, we both like the Skins and Bears as long shots, 10-1, 18-1. No bias here. Let's give out a third one. Let's give out another long shot. All right, let me get to.
I don't want to give out a loser. It's going to be one of them, right?
A non-bias. We're not giving out the Falcons minus 160. No fucking way. Bucks 2-1. Nah. I mean, Vikings plus 260. Could they sneak in the 7 seed? They're 4-4 already. Is Dobbs play a playoff game?
I don't know. I mean, if the Vikings had a better run game, I would be on that. But their run game even has sucked. I actually think Cam Akers ends up taking over for Alexander Madison. He has run more efficiently recently, and I haven't been sold on Madison since he was going to be the starter. I don't
Who's
know. I don't
Carolina?
like any of these teams.
Who's Carolina got coming up? Can they get back in this thing? They're only 2 back. They're 25-1.
Not with Bryce Young.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Bryce Young guy. I mean, the Rams at plus 350 isn't a bad one. If Stafford
True.
actually stays healthy, I think we give out the Rams. So
Yeah.
Rams plus 340, Skins 10-1, Bears 18-1, AFC.
I got one more NFC one for you.
What we got?
What if Kyler Murray comes back? He's a mobile quarterback who can put up rushing yards. He's not a bad passer. He just has some games that it's like, what the fuck? This guy's supposed to be good. What if he can come back and get this team on track 25-1?
I know
They have some good pass catchers. I mean, in James Conner, once he comes back from injured reserve, they got a good running back. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. But if you're looking for a long shot at 25-1, why not sprinkle just a little bit on it?
They're only 3 back in the wild card. Anything can happen. 8 wins is going to get you this wild card and give you a chance. So they got to get moving. So yeah, Kyler, I guess we trust. So JMark's adding the Cardinals 27-1, 25-1. In the AFC, we liked. What about the Chargers plus 170?
If the Bears was their get right game and now they start winning games, I mean, I was so excited about this offense with Kellen Moore as the coordinator, and it just has been pretty flat. But they can keep using Eckler like they did against the Bears, and maybe Quentin Johnson can step it up a little bit, then I don't hate that move.
So we'll go Chargers plus 170. What was the other one? Oh, Jets 3-1. They get Hey, one of the whoever wins this game on Monday night, it's going to be in a good position with the Jets and Chargers.
Yeah.
The other one we gave out, we're not touching the Titans or Colts. Those teams aren't going to the playoffs. Denver 9-1. If that defense, they got to buy, keep that defense going right. And of course, I'm giving out the Patriots as my long shot 25-1. Belichick's about to win 5 in a row to get to 7-6. Here we go, baby. Here we go.
There you go.
Real quick, JMark, Super Bowl, just to update everybody. Philly 6-1, Kansas City plus 550, San Fran also 6-1, Miami 10-1. Is there any long shot Super Bowl that you're seeing that you may like?
Yeah, Jacksonville 16-1.
Ooh, yeah, I do that. I'm seeing a 20-1 in a book.
20-1. I mean, even better. I mean, I love this Jacksonville team. I put them as my Super Bowl team at the preseason, and I think they're just getting better. So, Doug Peterson, he's not a stranger to being able to coach teams up to the Super Bowl. So look out AFC, Trevor Lawrence and his long hair, that he could win the Super Bowl and the MVP. He's 20-1, by the way, to win the MVP. So I like that as well.
I like that too. I think Kansas City's vulnerable with all the distractions. I'll go Buffalo 17-1.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, I mean, you could throw Cincinnati in there 18-1 too, man. I mean, those 3 teams with 3 good quarterbacks, I think that they could. I mean, in the NFC, I guess if you wanted to give out a longer shot, it would be Detroit 15-1.
No, it would be my other preseason pick, the Saints 55-1.
I'll tell you what, the Seahawks at 35-1 isn't a bad one. If they find a way to get in the big dance as like a 1 or 2 seed, and everybody's got to go through Seattle. Ooh, man.
That will be tough.
Yeah. And they got the tiebreaker over the Lions.
You don't like the Commanders at 200-1?
No, they weren't on my screen. Patriots are down there too.
Bears sitting at 400-1. Come on.
We're eliminated.
Right.
All right, guys. I hope you got in on some of these futures. I'm looking forward to seeing which ones go. You knew I had to throw some Patriots in there. So, all right, JMark, tell everybody where to find you, what you got going on. Doubleheader,
Well, first of
son.
all, Nick does not like our Seahawks pick, being the 49ers fan, but he does think the Lions look good, which I agree, but I don't like that being a Bears fan. Check me out on the X at JMark Football. I post everything there, and go check us out at Old Fashioned FB, where we talk fantasy football, we talk whiskey, and the wife and I argue back and forth. And she, shout out to her though. She's killing it in most of the fantasy football leagues that she's in right now. She is, if not the number one team, the number two team in every single league, I feel like. So shout out to her. I'll give
Bingo,
her some
bango.
credit.
Yeah. Get over there, go check out, drink some whiskey, make some fantasy picks, and listen to Marriage. You might pick up if you don't pick up his fantasy tips, you might pick up some whiskey, or you might pick up some marriage advice. So
Yeah,
look
like
at
it makes you
there
drink
you
whiskey.
There you go. Can't beat that. Life is good. Football's good. NFL Gambling Podcast is good. At Moneyline_Mac for me. I think I'll have another show here tonight. I don't know. College basketball is season's here, so we'll get over there. Make sure you're subscribed to everything. Sports Gambling Podcast does their Week 9 picks, so get over there, subscribe there. Good luck with your weekend bets, and we'll guys see you Monday for the recap show, and let it ride.